Hi honeys, it's me, Sarah, and today I thought I would talk to you all about how many adoptees' paperwork comes with the return policy / rehoming policy and just some of the information that surrounds that situation. So there are usually two different terms that are often used to describe this difficult situation of an adoptive relationship ending: disruption and dissolution. Disruption is when the adopted process ends after the child has been placed into an adopted home, but before the adoption is finalized legally. Around 10 to 25% of adoptions in the US are disrupted. Dissolution, which is sometimes referred to as dissolved, is when the legal relationship between the adopted child and the adopted parent is severed after the adoption has been finalized legally. Because adoptions are finalized, usually parents have to get a lawyer and go to court in order to officially nullify the adoption. Around 1 to 5% of adoptions are dissolved in the US. Older adoptees tend to experience disruption and dissolution more than adoptees who are adopted as infants. For children who are 3 years old or older, their disruption rates tend to be around 10 to 16%. For teens, it tends to be around 24%, so 1 in every 4 adoptions. Also, with international adoption, usually the adopted parents need to notify the agency if the adoption has been disrupted or dissolved, so the agency can then notify the child's birth country that the adoption has failed. However, the agency will normally look for a post-placement home or foster home for the adopted child in the country in which they were adopted into, because returning to the birth country is not usually an option for the child. Some of you guys may be curious what return / post-placement paperwork may entail, so I thought I would share with you guys some points from my own paperwork. Sorry, I'm trying to hide my information, but yeah, I'm going to share some points. If I/we fail at any time during the adoption process to provide full and complete disclosure of all relevant information to adoption agency, placement of the child may be withdrawn. I/we understand that the adoption agency will provide us with all information the agency has about the child. I/we will adopt. I/we also understand, however, that adoption agency cannot guarantee the present or future mental or physical health of the child. Specifically, child may be suffering from physical or emotional problems or diseases which are unknown to adoption agency. I/we agree to hold harmless adoption agency for any expenses or damages that may result as a consequence of the child's condition, and agree to be fully responsible therefore. Should it be determined that the child should be removed from my/our home, I/we agree to notify adoption agency to allow adoption agency to participate in future planning for the child. I/we agree to post-placement requirements of adoption agency and acknowledge that I/we will be responsible for the cost of post-placement services. I/we will be responsible for prompt payment of all fees and understand that referral / placement and post-placement fees are due at this time. I/we understand that due to international situations which are beyond adoption agency's control, it is not possible to predict a time frame between referral and the placement of a child in my home. The referral of this child is confirmed when adoption agency receives these signed documents and the attached fees. As an international adoptee, I definitely find the fact that a child's first adoption may not be their only adoption to be a heavy subject. I know for me, I'm very fortunate that my first adoption was my only adoption, but I do understand that I have a lot of issues related to my abandonment and my adoption. So just the idea that someone may be forced into the position of gaining a family and losing a family again, just that abandonment all over again, is really heartbreaking. Although I do not agree with return / post-placement policy for adoptees after adoption, I do understand that not all adopting families and children are a good fit, and I don't want to automatically vilify adopting parents, and I do want to try to have empathy for adopting parents in this situation as well. Many times, the reason why people decide to nullify their adoption is because they feel the child is more than they can handle. They feel the child may have more severe physical or mental health issues than they were expecting, or that the adoptee causes issues within their pre-understood family structure. Some adoptees suffer from reactive attachment disorder, which is a rare condition that is caused by the neglect of the child's basic needs for comfort, support, and just overall nurturing. With this disorder, people do not form healthy bonds with parents or caregivers, and it does have a range of symptoms, from aggression towards peers, withdrawalness, and just attention-seeking behavior. Some children don't have healthy coping mechanisms and may act out in ways that are violent, dramatic, or just hard to handle as a parent. Seeking therapy, seeing medical professionals, and just getting help can be very beneficial. As an adoptee, it can be very hard to adjust to a new family and a new place. And as an adopted parent, sometimes you have to understand that the child is adjusting and that they may not be okay with you, or they may not like you for a few weeks or a few months or maybe even a few years. And sometimes that's something that you have to ask yourself, am I okay with that situation if that is, the case? But I do want to say these children aren't demons or villains. And honestly, just like everyone else, they have their own problems and special needs. With proper help, people who suffer from reactive attachment disorder can live relatively normal lives. Same with any other problem that the adoptee might be facing. With proper help, they can live pretty normal lives. Honestly, no matter what the child is dealing with physically, emotionally, or mentally, I do feel it's usually in the child's best interest to try to avoid disruption and disillusion, because it can be a very difficult and traumatic experience, and honestly it can cause lifelong issues with self-esteem, anxiety, depression, trust issues, and more. If you are interested in adopting, I feel like you should do a lot of research before starting the process. And please understand that these children have had a life before ever meeting you. They may have had experiences that affect them physically, emotionally, and mentally. Please learn more about mental health conditions, how race and racism may affect your adopted child, and just how to be patient with your child and be there for them and support them to the best of your abilities. Understand that their physical and mental health may be better or worse than advertised by the adoption agency. If you're not sure if you can handle taking care of someone with prior physical or mental health conditions, then please don't adopt, because your choice to adopt affects someone else's life. And honestly, I don't think the child should have to go through the process of gaining a family figure and losing a family figure over and over again. That's traumatic and unfair to the child. So please do your best to educate yourself so this doesn't happen. Thank you all so much for watching. Please click that like button if you enjoyed the video, click that notification bell so you know when I'm posting, and subscribe so you can join me on more and all of this, my dears. And yeah, that's the end. Thank you guys so much. Bye, honeys. Again, super weird. Tripod far away. Figuring that out. Probably gonna be a thing. Bye, honeys.